Alright, so doing a second video tonight. This is the 12th team we're doing? Yeah, 12. So, one more really, but we all know who it is already. So, this team is my 8th team, the team I have on the cusp of the playoffs. Should not surprise them. I'm sure it will, but it should not. But this is Robbie's team, who I have ranked number 8. So, let's go. First round, 7th overall. First, I don't like being in the middle, so never like being in the middle. But we took Dalvin Cook. Now, Cook was tremendous last year. He was, when he played, he was a top 5 fantasy running back. To get him at 7 is good value, absolutely. He led the league in touchdowns and only trailed McCaffrey in fantasy points go through week 14. Of course, he missed the last 2 games, and he missed a chunk of a few others, but he was still very good. He led the league with 15 carries within 5 yards of the end zone, which was the most in the league, and scored at least 1 touchdown in 11 of the 14 games he played. So, really good. The worry is still injury prone. He's missed 19 games in 3 years, so more than a season in 3 years, essentially. That's a lot. And while he's in a run-heavy offense, he is, again, very injury-prone. So I'm actually modestly surprised that we didn't make it a point to go after Madison, his handcuff. So, I mean, I could see another 1,000-yard season. I could see like 10 touchdowns, 11 touchdowns, and maybe 500 yards receiving, so 1,500 yard season, and like 11 touchdowns. So again, basically top 5 back. But is he going to reach all those because he's healthy? I doubt it. We haven't had a full healthy season from him ever. So why would he start now? That's why I'm very hesitant to pay him and give him an extension, especially when Aaron Jones is a free agent next year, for example. So, I mean, I like him. I'm very surprised he did not get Madison later in the draft, because this was definitely someone you would want a handcuff for, because he gets hurt a lot. But, yeah, all right. So, at least a good start. He's good for the pick value. So after that, we took James Conner. I like James Conner a lot. I know he's missed at least 2 games in each of his first 3 seasons. He missed 3 games in 2018, but then he wasn't healthy most of last year. So I think he only played 10 games. So he missed 6 games. He only had 450 yards or so, and he wasn't very good at all. But the year before, he was tremendous, and he had 1,462 yards. So he was a top 5 back in fantasy. He had 13 touchdowns. He had 13 touchdowns in 2018. So that's why he was such a high pick last year. The hope is, having Ben Roethlisberger back and Conner at full health, is that he will be fully healthy. I am hesitant to believe that, since he's never played again an entire 16-game season. Rookie year, 14 games. Second year, when he had his breakout, 13 games. Last year, 10 games. You notice a decline in the number of games. They drafted Anthony McFarland Jr. to be his handcuff because they're wary of his injuries. Again, another player who we did not get the handcuff for. Sure. Okay. I don't know. I mean, I like Conner a lot. Again, Conner probably was someone who I really wanted to drop to me, and I definitely would have drafted them, but considering we took Cook in the first round, it's a lot of risk. I could see 800 yards or so rushing, maybe 300 yards receiving, so not as good as his breakout 2 years ago, but still a very good season, still 1,100 yards or so, a top 20 running back, top 15 running back even. but he's got to stay healthy, and I don't like this downward trend of games, and I'm hesitant. I'm hesitant to use that kind of draft capital on someone when I'm again not getting the handcuff. So, you super risky first two picks. I mean, I respect the upside play, but super risky. So after that, we took Travis Kelce. I mean, we've talked about this like multiple times. I will say, for the draft capital, it's worth taking Kelce here in the third round. Gosh, I would have probably taken Kelce over some of the picks taken ahead of him. He's essentially, he's really, really good. He got like 1,300 yards last year, I want to say. Yeah, so 1,200. He had 1,200 yards last year. He's basically like a top 10 wide receiver. He's like the number 8 wide receiver or so, and usually I would take that if the number 8 wide receiver is there. He's stayed relatively healthy. The issue is with tight ends, they usually get injured more often. So like the thinking goes with people who draft tight ends early and high is that you get such an advantage that's worth it. But for me, I almost feel like you give that advantage, because even if wide receivers really deep, you don't get very good receivers anyway. I don't personally mind taking Kelce here. I know that I mentioned with Charlie taking Greg Kittle, though, in the third round as well. That's something I didn't really love, and I don't really love this either. I mean, for the draft capital, people will say, well, like Kelce's worth it, and he's been healthy, and he's been very good. I grant you all of those things, but I mean, historically speaking, tight ends break down sooner, they break down faster, and I know he's with Mahomes, but I'd much rather take a safer pick like Tyreek Hill than risk it on a tight end, because whatever advantage I'm getting, I'm giving away anyway, because my receivers usually aren't very good, and your receivers aren't very good, newsflash. But I do like Kelce the player. He's really talented. He's now the highest paid tight end in football, and I could see like an 1,100-yard season. I could see like 10 touchdowns. So like essentially like a top 10 receiver at tight end. And he's dominant, and he always does really, really well. And, touchdown regression this year will be good because Mahomes will be healthy the whole season. But he is 30 now. I will say, honestly, he ought to have gone in the second round just because of the value standpoint. Like there were some wide receivers that should have gone in the second round too, though. Because second round was ugly. Third round was better. Second round was really ugly this year for half of these teams. But I don't like taking tight end early. I just feel like it's very, very risky, and whatever kind of advantage you think you're getting, you usually give away anyway from the receiving core, which isn't that great. I'd rather have an elite receiver. I'd rather have an elite running back. It's just, yeah. So that's why usually I suggest, unless you're a high-level player, you should not take a tight end early. You probably shouldn't even start looking at a tight end until the fourth round. I really liked what Ryan did a lot with tight end, and I feel like that would have been a better play, but Robbie historically loves taking his tight ends early, and Robbie has not been very good the last few years, but you're not going to change, and I'm not going to try and change you. I'm just highlighting the fact that this strategy is so worn out that everyone knows it, everyone's aware of it, and we're completely fine with you doing it because it helps us. Whatever advantage you think you give, by week 9, we know you'll probably trade the tight end because you'll need something, because you haven't done very well for the rest of your draft because you're missing something. So I do like the next pick, though, in the third round. I feel like if we could have flipped the picks, it would have been better. I really, really like J.K. Dobbins. I like him a lot. Typically, I don't like Ohio State players. I know we got a bunch of Michigan boys. That's not why I don't like the Ohio State players, though. I don't like Ohio State because they stole that national championship from Miami. That was not a pass interference. Miami should have had back-to-back undefeated season. They should have given them the title. in 2002 if you don't know what I'm talking about, especially when they blew out Liz McGahee's knee. But we're not talking about that. I don't like Ohio State for my own personal reasons. I love the U. Super cool. But I really like Dobbins a lot. Dobbins, I remember him popping as a freshman at Ohio State. So, and I know he's going to the perfect offense for him, which is Lamar Jackson's rush offense. I know I mentioned in my last video with Mac that people have been high on Mark Ingram. There were quite a few rookie running backs that were taken before Dobbins, like Jonathan Taylor, Cam Akers, DeAndre Swift. I think DeAndre Swift's the most talented. I think Cam Akers is going to get the most work. I think Jonathan Taylor has the best offensive line. I think Dobbins is in the best situation, though, and I think Dobbins is going to have the most success. And the reason is because this is the perfect offense for him. He's a 3-down, 5'9", 200-pound running back who is just pure speed, and with Lamar is going to be wild. And that's why I think before too long he's going to take that job from Mark Ingram. So to get him in the 4th round when the other 3 are going in the 3rd round, it's really, really great. I know other people are sleeping on him because, like, Mark Ingram's really good, but, I mean, Dobbins, towards the end of the year, I anticipate taking that job. They had a 1st-round grade on him, and they took him in the 2nd round. And, again, this is the team that developed Lamar Jackson, all right? That develops a good rushing game. All right, they won a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco. All right, Joe Flacco isn't even that good, so I really believe in what the Ravens are doing. I really believe the Ravens know how to run the ball. Obviously, behind offensive coordinator Greg Roman, who is the former offensive coordinator for the 49ers and led with Colin Kaepernick to a Super Bowl to play these same Ravens, and it's just I anticipate Dobbins possibly being a 1st-round pick next year, and it's just a waiting game to see when he takes over this job. Not if, but when. For now, I will keep it relatively low. I think it might not be till midseason, so I'm going to say like 600 yards, maybe 5 touchdowns on the season, maybe 200 yards receiving, so like an 800-yard year for a rookie, which is still pretty good. That's not really worth the 4th-round draft capital, but man, if something happens to Ingram or if Dobbins takes the job sooner, he's going to be a monster. He's really, really good. Like Alvin Kamara good. So Kamara's really quick and really good pass catcher. Dobbins isn't like that, but Dobbins is just fast, just straight line fast. He's like Saquon Barkley fast. And if you don't know how fast Saquon Barkley is, go watch a highlight or see him run the 40. And Saquon's a freak as an athlete. So Saquon's like a bigger Ezekiel Elliott, if you are wondering how fast Saquon Barkley is. But Dobbins is great. I really, really like the pick. I think this is great draft value. I am wondering what we're doing at wide receiver, because we've went double running back, and then we went tight end, and then we went running back again. So again, this is what I mean. We're giving away whatever advantage we had at wide receiver. But okay, sure. We'll follow along, whenever that is. 5th round. So, did we take a wide receiver? I hope we took a wide receiver. Oh, there we took a wide receiver. Oh, and it's a wide receiver I like. Terry McLaurin. Good find by Stefan last year. Very good find. So I really, really like Terry McLaurin. I like this pick quite a bit. He is shifty. He's a very good route runner, but he's really good at going up for the ball in the air. He dropped in the draft because he's not tremendously fast, but if a ball's in the air, his ability to go get it really reminds me of like an Anquan Bolden. So he's not going to like separate very well because he doesn't have that kind of speed, but man, he's a baller. If I wish he was on a better team so people would understand how good Terry McLaurin is. Like, Terry McLaurin is like a shade below like Odell Beckham Jr., and he's hidden in Washington because he's got a terrible quarterback. But he's really, really good. So, again, another Ohio State guy. Ohio State's really good at finding athletes. He was the number 17 fantasy wide receiver in the 14 weeks that he played last year. He missed a couple games, which is really good considering Dwayne Haskins and a whole bunch of nobodies were the quarterbacks last year, and that's what's happening again. So he's due for a bit of touchdown regression. I'm not thinking like 7, but maybe like 6. So not much. But he did see 10 end zone targets, so that's pretty good. And he's definitely the undisputed number 1 receiver in Washington. I think, again, the issue for McLaurin isn't so much him. It's just the situation. Like, I like Antonio Gibson, who's now the starting running back for Washington. But, man, they have, like, very, very little talent. Can you name the number 2 receiver? I mean, I can. It's Steven Sims, but it's not very good. Got rid of Peterson to start Antonio Gibson, who had 33 carries his entire career in college, and he's now the starting running back. That's tough. You got Dwayne Haskins, and you got a new coach, and you're changing your name, and you're having an investigation. There's just a lot of turmoil on this team. So I think McLaurin gets 1,000 yards this year, first time. I think he gets like 75 catches. I think he gets like 6 touchdowns. I think he's really great. I think his talent's really great. I think he's just trapped somewhere that kind of sucks. I wish Alex Smith was healthy, and I wish that they had a little bit more talent on the team. They're going to feed him, but I don't even think they're going to feed him enough just because he's more than what he's shown. He's really, really good, guys. Like, I can't stress to you, like, I mean, we got, like, Calvin Ridley, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Devontae Parker, DJ Chark, DK Metcalf, T.Y. Hilton. All those guys went this round. McLaurin, pound for pound, on talent, is better than all of them. He's better. He's a better route runner. He's better with the ball in the air. He plays in a worse environment with everybody double covering him, and he still produces. He's really, really good, but he's trapped. He's trapped in Washington, and it sucks. It really sucks. He's like, I would take him right now over Chris Godwin, and Chris Godwin's like about to get paid by the Bucs, but I would take Terry McLaurin as a wide receiver over Chris Godwin because Godwin's really good after the catch, but McLaurin does everything except for separate well. Godwin can separate, and that's the only thing. So, it sucks. I like him, but as I mentioned, I don't like his situation. So after that, we're still ignoring the number 2 receiver I see, so giving away all that advantage we had from Travis Kelce, I see, okay, I understand. Giving away all of that. We took Deshaun Watson. I mean, I like Watson. He just got paid. He has back-to-back 4th place finishes as a fantasy quarterback. So I mean, that's good. He had 26 touchdowns last year. Probably due for a little bit of regression forward. Maybe like 20, 28, maybe 30. So I think the rub, DeAndre Hopkins is gone. I really like DeAndre Hopkins. I took DeAndre Hopkins in like the 3rd round, beginning of 3rd round, at the turn between the 2nd and 3rd. Yeah. So, I think Watson, I mean, he's a top 5 fantasy quarterback. Again, most teams did really well with drafting quarterbacks. And to wait on him this long when Lamar went in the 4th, and then Brady and Mahomes went in the 5th, and we got Watson. That's really good. Oh, there's Madison. Madison got taken in the 6th. Wow, Madison got sniped from you. That's why I didn't get him. That's rough. So, I think the only thing might have been I might have wanted Russell Wilson, who was the pick right after, just because I think Wilson's ascending, and I'm not sure what Watson can show without Hopkins. That kind of hurts him a bit. But, I mean, he's really good. Freaking David Johnson's his running back, so it's basically the Deshaun Watson show. So I think, he's going to have a little bit better year, maybe 4,000 yards, maybe 28 touchdowns. Maybe this year he's like a top 3. He could even be an MVP candidate. So taking him in the 6th round, I can vibe with that. We still need to fill the wide receiver issue we have, but I can vibe with that. I can dig it. So after that, we went with AJ Green. Ooh, risk. You and I definitely have the same idea. Green is super risky. I had him last year. I drafted him around this same area, around round 7. Missed a whole year last year, but we're taking him again. He's on the franchise tag. He's 32. He's missed at least 6 games 3 of the past 4 years. Ugh. But when he plays, oh my gosh, he's He's a top 15 wide receiver at minimum, if not a top 5 receiver. So it's been a while since we've seen him healthy, 2 years. He's really risky. I know he's healthy now. He's got Joe Burrow. I like him. Rookie kid out of LSU. I don't know about the O-line, though. I don't know about Green's durability. So I'm putting like 850, 900 yards, maybe 5 touchdowns. That's very under. Green's obviously capable of like a 1,500-yard season, especially when the Bengals defense is questionable at best, and they got a rookie kid. But there's no way Green's playing all 16 games. Like, that's just not realistic. Could he bleed out 12? I could see that. But he's got to stay healthy. They got to keep him healthy. And I'm very, very hesitant that he's going to stay healthy. Just like Connor, just like Cook. We're taking super risky guys and kind of throwing it up and hoping. And I like the upside, though. He could be great, but he's your number 2 receiver. Man, oh, man. We got a backup plan. Because, like, he ain't going to be there. And all that goodness you got from Kelsey basically is gone now. You spent all that capital because you're starting to back up at receiver number 2. But, sure. That's cool, I guess. So, after that, Preston Williams. Okay. Another. Just keep, like, y'all joke, I'm the hospital room player. Like, look at this. Like, look, Green didn't even play last year, man. Now we're taking Preston Williams. You know what happened to Preston Williams? He blew out his knee. He tore his ACL last year. I would know. In Week 9, that's what happened to Devontae Parker getting his ascension, was Williams blowing out his knee. Because before Williams blew out his knee, he was leading the team in targets ahead of Parker. He was the breakout. So, I mean, he looks healthy, and he's a really good player, and I like him a lot. He struggles with drops. But he was like wide receiver number 37 before he got hurt. So he's all right. He's only 23, and I guess we're hoping he overtakes Devontae Parker who just got paid. But how sure are we he's going to stay healthy? I don't really know. I suppose we can shoot for like 800 yards, maybe 5 touchdowns. So, I mean, for the draft capital, considering Parker went in round 5, and we're getting him in round 8. That's pretty good. I still think Parker's the man, though. I think once Tua's in there, Parker's the one who got paid. But I like Preston Wilson. I don't mind the gamble. I just wish we weren't gambling so much, but he's a good player. He's really solid. I don't know. I guess he's your backup to Green, I suppose. But Williams didn't even have like a 10-point game last year before he got hurt. The team didn't really come together till he got hurt, so I guess we're believing that ascension, but I'm not sure. I don't even know how much is going to break out, especially Chan Gailey's the O coordinator, so I think they're going to throw the ball more, but I don't know, you're going to have a rookie quarterback taking over before too long. So I'm not sure. Again, super risky picks. So, I mean, I like it. All right. Where are we going next? You gotta take something. Oh, I took Damian Harris. I mean, we just talked about this. You wanted, Darren Waller for Damian Harris, and I'm just not feeling that. So, I mean, Waller's like, a 1.5 worse than Kelsey, and you paid, 3rd round for that? Yeah, exactly. Nah, pass. So, I'll grant you, Harris has looked good in practice. I'll also grant you, he's got a broken pinky and is gone at least 3 weeks. I would imagine it's probably a month. So, 12 games. He's going to play 12 games even if you go all the way. I mean, he's looked good. He didn't play at all last year. He didn't even contribute on special teams. He doesn't fumble, though. That's really good. And he's a good pass catcher, blocker, and he's good between the tackles as well. Comes from the Nick Saban Alabama School of Running Backs. So, he's a good player. He's a quality running back. I think he's the most complete back in that backfield. He's a much better version of Rex Burkhead. The picky injury really hurts him, though, because if Michelle and James White get off to a good start, I mean, he's just gonna be chilling again. So, I mean, I'm thinking maybe like 450 yards, maybe 100 yards receiving. I mean, there's a possibility he could be the starter, but I'm not too keen on trading for him either, just because I think this is the Cam Newton show. Um, I know he's a starting running. He could possibly be a starting running back, but this is the Cam Newton show in New England now. Like, it ain't. I'm not putting all my ducks in a basket thinking some running back in New England's going to be great, especially when they're cycling through all of them. But now, I mean, it's not Tom Brady looking for a running back. It's Cam Newton running the ball at the 5. So, I mean, I like the pick for the upside. But again, another injury. Injury. Like, running a hospital room here. After that, we took Emmanuel Sanders. So, like, Sanders was really good last year. After everyone was down on him coming off the ACL injury. In Denver, he got traded to San Francisco. Now he's signed with New Orleans. He's no longer the target hog he was when he was in Denver in those Peyton Manning years, but he's still a really good player. He's still probably going to control the short to intermediate area behind Michael Thomas. He gives Breeze another target, especially near the end zone. He's really good in the red zone. So I'm thinking he's not going to have like as big a year as he did in like towards the end in San Francisco, but I could see like 750 yards, maybe like 6 touchdowns, which is good. I guess Sanders is your flex, and we're hoping he stays healthy. And he stayed relatively healthy last year coming off the ACL tear. So this is a good pick. This is a quality depth selection. He's a top 35 receiver or so. It's not bad. I mean, there was better upside in other places, but we're filling holes. I can feel that. He's a good player. There's some upside to see. After that, took Boston Scott, so the backup to Miles Sanders. Sanders is still pretty big dinged up. And Scott was really good in the opportunities that he received. I think, he had like 245 yards on 61 carries and 204 yards on 24 receptions. But he's still like very much the backup behind Miles Sanders. I think Sanders is going to get like 12, 13 carries, and Scott's going to get like 6 carries a game, roughly. Maybe 7. It depends, I guess, on game script, but I'm not expecting too much of him unless Sanders gets hurt. 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, 234 receiving. I mean, I like that we're taking some running backs, and I like that they have upside. I don't really understand why we didn't take our own handcuff running backs. We're taking other handcuff running backs, especially handcuff running backs that are just, all right, I mean, I like Scott, but he's not Miles Sanders' talent. And Scott reminds me a lot of Darren Sproles, though, but he's not. Even if Sanders gets hurt, I still feel like the Eagles are going to bring in a big body like they did with Jay Ajayi kind of thing. But he's got upside, and he definitely has value to the Sanders owner. So if you want to like flip it to them, I get it. Especially, we'll see if Justin ever does that. Justin's team's super safe and conservative, and this team is like super not. So I don't know if you guys can actually come to a trade agreement. But I don't know. There were a couple of picks after this I probably would have liked better, but he's a running back. He's healthy. He's in a good place. He's got a role, and he could be more. We don't know yet, so I don't mind it. After that, CeeDee Lamb, so high upside, rookie receiver, Dallas. We're thinking they're going to go up with Dak Prescott. I don't know, man. Like, Andre keeps trying to sell me on this, like, Dak Prescott's going to be elite this year, so we took Amari Cooper kind of drip. And I'm just like, are we buying that? I mean, he's playing for a contract. He's on the franchise tag. Mike McCarthy, as much as I dislike his usage of Aaron Jones towards the end in Green Bay, did win a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers once upon a time. It's a long time ago now, but it did happen. So the thing for CeeDee is he's behind Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup. And those guys stay relatively healthy. And he's still got Ezekiel Elliott. I don't like Cowboys players, even if I got Zeke. He's super quick. He's like 4'5", 40, but he's only like 200 pounds. I mean, a lot of people are really high on him. I have a hard time thinking he's going to be like a top 30 receiver, but I will say McCarthy likes to use 11 personnel, so one running back, one tight end, three wide receivers a lot. He's going to be learning on the fly. I don't know how much value he's really going to bring. I suppose he's a possible flex play, but we're talking like maybe 700 yards and 5 touchdowns, so not too different from some of the other picks. I mean, there's definitely upside if something were to happen to Cooper or Gallup, but he's definitely the third banana, and he's still figuring it out. I like risking it on rookie receivers, and he's really talented, just like Jerry Jeudy's really talented, just like Henry Ruggs III is really talented. But they also got to be in like a situation where they're getting fed the ball like McLaurin was last year, and I don't feel like that's. I mean, I suppose Ruggs might be the guy, but that's a whole nother issue with Vegas' offense because I don't really know what they're doing. So Cowboys at least will open it up. So there's the possibility of Lamb being more. I can respect that. That's a good pick. So took Brashard Perriman. Man, we're just going like lots of dice rolls. I mean, he's looked really good in camp. He had an amazing month for the Bucs last year to finish out the season. But he was all over the place before that. He was in he started out in Baltimore, got injured. He went to Cleveland, and then he went to the Bucs to be their slot man. And then Godwin and Evans got injured, and the last month of the year, he just went bananas and was like the number 3 receiver in fantasy from like weeks 13 through 17. So yeah, the last month of the season. And he's not a great catcher of the ball. I will say, this I like in the sense that he is for sure the number 1 receiver, and the Jets' offense reminds me a lot of Washington, except for Bell having to be the bell cow, but them not using him properly. But there's definitely the possibility of Perriman possibly becoming McLaurin. I mean, Perriman could fly. People forget how fast he was. I remember because, I mean, the guy's been around since 2015. Like, I graduated college in 2013. I remember when he was on UCF's team, and the guy is just fast. He is so fast. So he runs like a sub 4.340. He is really, really fast off the line. Can Sam Darnold feed him? I don't know. We shall find out. I don't think he's going to have like the kind of 4-game streak he had to end the year last year at the Bucs. But I could see over a season like 750 yards and 5 touchdowns, which is relatively what we just got with CeeDee Lamb. But I think Perriman's got definitely the opportunity to do more if the Jets can figure it out on offense. I'm really skeptical of that because I really, really don't like the coach. But I suppose there's the possibility of it. And roll the dice and see isn't bad. We're in round, 13? So I get it. That's why he fell. Jets players are not players that want him on the squad. We're going to need some defensive players. Oh, okay. We took Devin White. Good linebacker for Bucs. Top 5 pick last year. Hopefully he stays healthy. Jayon Brown, linebacker for the Titans. Good player. Like him. Malcolm Jenkins, the safety for New Orleans. So I like him as well. I feel like we've been making some moves, though. Have we been making some moves? Yeah, so that's right. We took Chris Boswell as the kicker. We picked up Chris Boswell as the kicker later. So, yeah, we took Chris Boswell, who's our kicker. I feel like I'm missing something. Didn't we take Carlos Dunlap? I feel like we took Carlos Dunlap. Yeah, Carlos Dunlap's our defensive lineman. So, Dunlap, usually, he's like middle of the road. He's usually like the 10th ranked defensive lineman. It's not bad. So, all that being said, I like the team overall, but why did I put them 8th? The team's like, despite my liking of quite a few of the selections, especially on the back end, the team is like really, really risky. Because like, we're hoping for a fully healthy year from Cook. It's never happened. A fully healthy year from Connor. It's never happened. A fully healthy year from McLaurin. It's never happened. A fully healthy year from A.J. Green. Hasn't happened in 4 years. And that's like basically the bones of our team. Like, I think J.K. Dobbins is really good, but he ain't a starter right now. I think, you took Kelsey and you like Kelsey, but whatever kind of advantage you thought Kelsey gave you was given away by whatever flex you start and whatever your number two receiver is. I mean, I guess Watson's like your saving grace because Watson's probably a top three quarterback this year, but there's definitely going to be a breakout somewhere for somebody, just like Lamar Jackson last year, Patrick Mahomes. But you got good value on Watson, so I'll grant you that you finally waited on a quarterback and it worked out well for you for the first time. See what happens when you wait. You don't take a quarterback in the top 3 rounds. It's like magic. You get a good quarterback if you just wait, if you're just a little patient. It's really great. So the team's super risky. I could definitely see like all these guys just being out, and then like trying to put in some of the guys on the bench in there. I see you got an empty bench slot. I'm interested to see what you use that on. I suppose that's because Damian Harris is currently on IR because he's out for at least 3 weeks. I'm betting a month. But yeah, no, I mean the team's really good. I think you'll make the playoffs, but I kind of thought the team would make the playoffs last year, and you barely did. Before last year, you missed the playoffs twice. You haven't been doing too hot recently. I don't know, maybe it's the new blood that's coming into the league with, like, Sarah and Andre, and then we had Rich, and, like, now we have Hannah and Alex, but, like, your team's been, like, pretty rough the last few years. We're talking, like, you start out, like, what? You came in second first year, fourth, and then fifth, and then fourth, and then the last 3 years have been ninth, 11th, and then fourth last year. So I hope we turned it around last year. I think we kind of turned it around, but you barely snuck in the playoffs. So we shall see. But I will say, I like the team. I just put you at 8th just because there's a lot of variance. If everything goes right, yeah, you could be a top team. But if everything goes wrong, you're at the bottom. So, like, we're just splitting the difference and putting you in the middle. And that's why you're there. So I don't love the team. That's why I put you 8th. But I think the team's really good. I mean, I made quite a few of those selections myself. It's super risky, but I would do it. I would have taken Connor. I don't take Watson. I was happy to wait for Newton. I like the back end, though. Like, even Pearman. Even if I don't like the Jets' offense, I even would consider it. But, yeah, the team's just... There's a lot of ways this could go bad. There's a lot of ways it could go good. But we'll see if it works out. I'm interested to see how it goes. Overall, I like the team. I like the way we drafted. It was fun. But it's going to go bad, like, real fast. Like, really fast. So, be careful. Talking about you don't want to trade freaking Damian Harris. Hey, man. Good luck. Stay healthy.